everyone. Welcome to A1 TV. And as you all know that every week we do our program that is Mental Health Awareness Forum. And our today's topic is impact of violence against women on mental health. And for today, my co-host, let's welcome my co-host Kim Kulin. She is Executive Director of CCHR, which is Citizen Commission Human Rights. Hi, Kim. Hi, Kim.
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And welcome back, Kim.
Thanks, Sana. And I think tonight's going to be very interesting because I've been doing a bit of research on this area as well, and we have discussed it. And this is quite a situation that people tend to not want to know very much about. And I think the speaker that you have, that I know you're going to introduce her in a moment, is going to be able to shed some light on this situation. And actually, we want to always look at solutions. So I think, after we go through and we look at the story, Sana, we should actually always look at, well, what can people do about this? What are the solutions?
Yeah. And as Kim discussed, our today's topic is really very important to discuss, and it's impact of violence against women on mental health. And for this, our today's guest is Swad Rajak. She is a writer of a book and a motivational speaker as well. So let's welcome Swad. Hi, Swad.
Hello, Sana. How are you?
I'm fine. Welcome back to A1 TV.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah. Swat, before we start our discussion for tonight, let's introduce our viewers, your achievements, and you are also a writer of a book. So just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Swad, Swad Rich. Um, I am a mother and I am a writer and a motivational speaker as well. I'm trying to be a coach somehow. We are getting there. And I wrote a book about violence against women and the book related to my own experience with this. So you can say when I speak, I will be speaking from my heart.
And as we know that you are one of the victims as well, and you know the pain of when a woman go through this pain or the trauma. So can you share your story with our viewers as well?
Absolutely. When we go through a violence, um, for me it was a bit kind of you go to that stage of you feel like you are escalated and you feel like you are trapped and you feel like you're alone. You don't know where to go, you don't know who to talk to. That's what the story for me at the beginning, when I realized that I was going through violence, domestic violence. So I was just dealing with it by myself. I tried to do as much as I can, but the end of the day you come to the point that you do need help, and you need to reach out to a special organization, special people to be there to help you go through this.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your story, Swat. And then again, it's about your book as well, the Silent Voices of Millions. So what this means, what this title stands for you?
The title is just it's not just my story. The book talks about a lot of women goes through the same thing that I've been through before. And when I say millions, so I'm trying to speak on behalf of all of those women, all of those women that they did not find the voice to come out and try to speak about what's really happening. Because for us, when I say us, I mean our community, is very hard for us to come out and talk about domestic violence, because this is the way, just simply we've been raised. It's we don't talk about this, and we think it's normal until we go through it, and until we really educate ourselves and we get more knowledge to know that yes, we are going through something different.
Yeah. And like, Swat, as you mentioned, me and Kim, we are also discussing about the same thing. Like, there are so many things which people hesitate to speak, and then end of the day, sometimes they commit suicide. And then they go through
Absolutely.
different mental trauma as well. And that is what, like, even CCHR is trying to aware people that look for other options. Am I right, Kim?
Absolutely, Sana. And so, what the situation is at the moment? There was statistics from the Australian Bureau of Statistics showed that 1 in 4 women in Australia have experienced at least one form of violence by an intimate partner. And, that's horrific statistics. That's 1 in 4 people, whatever culture you're from. I think this is sort of cross-cultural and going right across the boards. However, in 2013, the World Health Organization reported that within the Southeast Asian communities in particular, there was a highest prevalence globally of 37.7%, and the Eastern Mediterranean and African regions following at 37% and 36%. So we're looking at, there are obviously some cultural issues that are occurring here that I think Sue can enlighten us a little bit more about. But I think we also need to not negate the fact that this is happening to women right across the boards, whether you're Indian, African, Australian, wherever you're from, this is happening. And I think with the group that we have, the Society for Women's Empowerment and Recognition in Australia, Sana and I are trying to actually give people a place to go so that they have a voice. And this platform on A1 TV, I think, is very important for that, because we need to report sexual abuse and, violence. And we also need to know where to report it from, or where to report it to, and where to go for help.
Yeah.
The Citizens Commission on Human Rights, we will take reports from people who have had mental health abuse, like, for example, Sana and Sud, in the mental hospitals, women are being abused in there. So they go, they have an incident, they end up in a mental health institution, and there's quite a lot of women that are being abused in those places where you go for safety and care. So they're the people that we can address and work with. But I think we do need to have a list of other places where people can go to and get some real help.
Yeah, and that is the reason, like Kim, today we organized this platform to discuss about this issue, because I thought, like, when women go through such mental pressure, sometimes, as you mentioned, like, people from like, Mediterranean countries, African countries, or even, like, South Asian countries, they hesitate to share. You remember, Swan, once we discussed as well that we, in our culture, we take it as something normal, and we
Yes.
got the pressure that, look, there is something like, if your husband abuse you, mentally torture you, this is something which is normal, and you have to adjust in that scenario, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the thing is, we don't see it as the way, as you said, we don't see it as this is an abuse or anything, because when you ask anyone, whoever that you turn to, they kind of saying we are all going through this. So you are not alone in this. So you kind of feeling like, okay, why am I the only one have to go out there and try to speak about it while everybody
Yeah.
else is going through it? And obviously it's going to you capacity of really handling that abuse until when, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Stuart, and I think, can I just say something on that? I
Yeah.
think basically what happens is that there are strong women, right, that are able to come through and out of that, and I applaud you for what you've done. That you stood up and you've said you're saying something about it. But from what my own understanding of it, from talking to people and my research, is that women become victims, and
Yeah.
once you're a victim, it's very, very difficult to come out of that being a victim, because it's a very low level of beingness. And so you expect, it's like a dog that you beat, right? A dog that gets beaten. The dog ends up expecting to be beaten and will cower when its master goes past and just do what they're told to do because it's easier. Um, I'm going to tell a very quick story here, Sana, that I've never said this to anybody, but my mother had an abusive husband, and even I was just a baby at the time, so I really wasn't aware of that, but he was an alcoholic. Now, this is, we're Australians. I was born here. My parents were born here. So this is a situation that is happening right across the board. She stayed with with her husband because she thought that that was the right thing to do. And that was just what women have done right through the ages, and they continue to do. And I think it's time for women to stand up and be strong like you have been, Sword, and what Sana is doing, and really, make a stand and make sure that this doesn't continue to happen, because it's not acceptable, not in
Yeah.
any way, shape.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Swat, when you go through this trauma, do you reckon, because you are a mother as well, that apart from this, that it can impact you mentally as well? It's a mental torture, and plus you always think like, why I am the victim, why I am one of them. Does it impact on your children as well, on their mental
Absolutely.
health?
This is Yes, absolutely. This is what I want to say, because when you actually stay in this, even that you feel like you're strong and you can push through it, like there is an impact. Somehow there is an impact on you and on the children, even if you don't feel like it's happening. It is happening, because our children, they sense everything, they can see it. If you think like you were strong enough and you can push through it, maybe yes, but what about those children? That's why, like, today we have abusive husbands, we have abusive brothers, because they were born in this kind of environment. They exposed to it from a long time. That's the trauma they will live to it for a long time, and now they have some kind of mental issues that needs to be addressed. But the thing is, like, you don't know how to do it, and you don't know where to go, because they're like, okay, we're born here, that's mean, and they seem like they okay, they seem like, they're normal people and everything, but you don't know what's happening behind closed doors.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. And most people don't want you to know what's happening behind their closed doors.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, they
Yeah.
don't,
You
they don't.
know, and they pretend that everything's okay. And you
Yeah.
go, oh my
Yes,
God, what happened to you? Oh, I just walked into a door, right?
Yeah.
It's like
yes.
we just excuse it.
Yeah.
I call it the mask. I call it the mask. You put the mask in, the happy mask, and you go out, looking very nice and clean, and, nothing happened. But when you come home, all night you're crying, and the next day you're putting on the mask again. So
Yeah,
this is the reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
it is
And
the
I think,
reality.
yeah, and that is, think, the negative side, or even the dark side, that a woman have to pretend all the time to be acceptable in a society. That is what I feel from a woman perspective, and a woman from South Asian country, that if you want a label of a good woman, you need to
Hmm.
be a good wife, you need to be a good daughter. There are few standards which is being set, and in order to be a good wife, you have to be in a relationship, no matter good, healthy, negative, positive, whatever it is.
Yes, you're
Absolutely.
right. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. But that isn't what constitutes being a good wife. or a good woman. You
Yeah.
know, we need to stand up. We are equals. We are not any way less than a man or anyone else. Um, you know, women are strong, and I think having a good support system, knowing that they can have someone to talk to, like Sana's set up this counselling group. You can go and have a free counselling. You just need to call them. And there's lots of other places where people can go, but they need to know where they are, Sana. This is
Yeah.
what we need to somehow work out, how to get that information out to them. Like, you know, the situation with these women in Whittlesea that we've been
Yeah.
discussing.
Yeah.
You know, 7 women in Whittlesea committed suicide,
Yeah.
and they all were victims of family violence at some
Violence.
point
Yeah.
prior to that
Yeah.
trip. So
Yeah.
what is it that takes a person along that line so that they're so desperate? Maybe, Seward, you can answer this for me. At what point do you feel that people get so desperate that I can't do this anymore, and they opt out?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when they get to the point that, like, if I'm gonna talk about my own experience because that's what I know the best.
Yeah.
So when you come to the point that you feel like you are mentally not all right, there is something wrong with you, and you feel like you are different, totally different person. You know yourself, but when you feel like you are totally different person than the way you felt before, or like 2 3 4 5 years ago, you know there's something wrong. When you come to that point, you're like, okay, I need help and I need it right now. Okay, and let me just say something more about this. I think within my culture, maybe language barrier can be a big problem for us as well. The other thing is, as Sana said, when you talk about those kind of things, you are already escalated from the community. You know, you want find friends, you want find people, and people will start talking bad about you, and you feel bad, you feel lonely. So by the time, as the time goes on, you feel like, okay, I just want to go back and do the same, as everybody else doing, because and they don't know what are you going through. Maybe you are going through more than what other women are going. That's when we are like, we get to the point that other women commit suicide because they don't know what to do.
Yeah, I second this because I want to quote here. One of my friends, she talked to me because she is separated from his husband. His husband is very abusive, even though he is a highly qualified person. But still, like, he is not a good husband, and he is very abusive towards her, and then want, she financially support not only him, but his family as well, even though he itself doing a great job. And then what happened, because they got separated, now after this separation, people try to neglect her. They tried not to invite her to their gatherings, because now she is single and she has no husband with her, so she didn't fit into the criteria of a good woman. So that's why, or maybe because it's normally the excuse is like, maybe because it's a family gather and you don't have family and all those things. So now even I feel that, her children even feel segregated because they are not acceptable. They have no father, so people try to avoid them. So look, if you are in that situation, then of course you find yourself in a very depressive or in a very traumatized situation where, like,
Yeah.
you have no help. Plus people don't want to like you, like invite you. They don't like you. So of course, like, it's a kind of a isolation.
I'd really like to hear some more stories like that, Sana. I think we could almost write a book between us on people's stories and actually get that out. But I
Yeah.
also want to hear, what is the solution? Like, where do we go? I know, for example, in Whittlesea, there's a community legal service where they're helping people. And I suppose more research needs to be done on this because I haven't personally done it. But I
Yeah.
would presume that in each separate community, there is a place for people to go, but we need to know where these are so that you've got the number and you can make a quick phone call and you can get help. I
Yeah.
know in Whittlesea, for example, there's a guy called Chris Tovey, and I'm actually going to see if I can contact him and get him onto this show, because he's a lawyer who helps with abuse cases. So he's actually works at the Whittlesea Community Connections Community Service. And I think if everyone listening to this show maybe just looks at what's available in their area and sends it to Sana so that she can put it up on her Facebook page and get it out, then we can start getting like a bit of a directory together. Because I don't want to see people being in a situation where they're traumatized, they're depressed, they don't know what to do, they end up in the hands of, you know, they go to the doctor, they're given psychiatric medication like antidepressants because they're depressed. They don't know the potential dangers of these drugs, and one of the very serious dangers of antidepressants is that you can have suicidal thoughts or commit suicide. So if you're already feeling depressed and it happens to have that effect on you, then you don't want to go down that line, right? So you want to have some other solution that you can go to before you get to that point. Because we don't want, you know, I'm really concerned, like these women in Whittlesea, for example, you know, what happened with them, right? Because how can you have 7 people in the one area that victims of family violence and commit suicide? It's not logical to me, you know, because people don't normally just go off and commit suicide. We're tough. People are, human beings are tough. And we put up with a lot, you know. So
and plus it's a very a very depressing situation. Even when I read the whole article, I really feel bad, how helpless they are, that for them suicide or committing suicide is an easy option. Taking their life is an easy option rather than living. And it's not about one woman, it's not about 2 women, it's 7 women in a row from South Asian community, particularly Indian community. They commit suicide here in Melbourne, where there are 1,000 sources where they can go. There are 1,000 channels where they can go and they can provide help. And here in Melbourne or in Australia, they commit suicide. 7 lives.
But if people come to Australia and they don't immediately know what the resources are, like I would recommend that people are educated before they move over here. Like, you know, if they get a chance. I mean, obviously, if you're a refugee, it's very difficult to get that information. But you know, Australia, we are supposed to be the lucky country. You know, I mean, I've lived here all my life. We're blessed to live in a country like this. We're not in war-torn countries like what's happened in Africa and, you know, in third world countries like in India, for example. We're very lucky here. And I think people just need to know what is available. And if it's not available, then we need to go and see our local MP and make it be available. Because, you know, this is a democracy in this country and we have a right. We have a right to choice, and it's time that we really asserted that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So you want to add on something in it? Because you
what I want to say,
listen few stories, isn't it?
Yes, what I want to say about those women, you know, it as you said, it was easier for them to take their life rather than going and asking for help. And again, what I'm saying is because of the community, the pressure, you have no idea of the pressure of the community on those women. You know, talking about my own personal community, there is a lot of pressure. You can't even say anything. It's very hard. So I think that's why, like, those women will go and it's easier for them to take their life and they just done and that's it, rather than going through all the hustle and the bustle and, you know, name shame them and you know, escalating them from the community. And the kids, they go through a lot as well. And talking about the kids, I think we have to change the way we're raising our children in this country. You know, they are very smart children. We have to make them strong, because we can't just tell them, if you stay with someone, that means you have to die with with the same person. You don't have to go through this. You are the mother. You have to really educate your children and tell them, you know what, life today is this way. Tomorrow it may change. Okay, so when we say that we are doing this for our children, this is what I always say when I talk about this. When we say we're doing this for our children, we are not doing it for them. If we are doing it for them, we will never have like mental people now, and husband who are beating their wife, and they don't even consider their children in that situation. So it's
Yeah,
all goes to the children.
Yeah.
absolutely. You're totally right.
Yeah.
And our children are our most important beings because they're our future. They're our future leaders. They're our future, doctors. They're our future teachers. And we need to make sure that we educate them so that they can think for
Absolutely.
themselves and they
Yeah.
can look back, they can stand back and they can see something and they can evaluate it and they can say, no, it is not okay to actually hit my mother or to hit a girl or but it's not even physical. There's also the
Mental issue. Yeah.
mental abuse as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
withholding money, withholding finances so that you can't go shopping, or
Yeah.
being disappointed in you because you didn't do something correctly. It's
Yeah.
like these are the parameters that we need to look at and we
Yeah.
need to educate people on. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are aware of this, but we need to we need to give them an option of where to go, what can they do about it, and who is going to help them.
Yeah.
Can't
And
I like to write about this?
yeah. And one thing which you mentioned before, Kim, and I think that's a very good point, because when people come here, immigrants, mostly
Yes,
women, at airport or maybe at different places, they should got this kind of information that God forbid if something happened, where to go, what is the
that's right.
best place where they can register their complaint. Because of course when we came here, it took a while to understand the environment, and plus to interact with others, and plus as Swat mentioned, there is a sort of a shyness as well, that how can I share my story. I don't know what other people think about me, maybe they don't like us and all that. So rather than we try to find out different channels and all that, I think it's really important that those who come here, they will got all the information, that where they have to register their complaint, or where these women have to go in case if they need any sort of help.
Yeah. So where is somewhere that everyone goes? And I think basically it would be like the immigration office.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like most people have immigration lawyers or someone helping them so that they come into the country. Maybe we can organise for them to get it. Or
Yeah.
I don't know, Sana. We just need to somehow work it out. Given out
Yeah.
on the planes. People come over from India, for example. A little
Yeah.
booklet. This is what to expect when you come to Australia. I think it is definitely something that we can pursue. And maybe there's people out there who'd like to take that on as a project.
Yeah.
Can
And
I just say something on
yeah.
that as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sana?
Yeah.
When we come first to Australia, they give them, I think, I can't remember exactly how many hours of this English studying. That could be actually a very good time when when these women should be given all of those information to know exactly what's happening,
Yeah.
But let
Yeah.
me
That's
tell you something. When
yeah.
that happened, because when that happened, and when you know everything, that's when the men will go back to their country and remarry another woman that does not know anything and bring her back here, because this is obviously what they want.
Yeah.
They want you to don't know any of this. They want you to be in a relationship with those people that they know, that they want you even to call the police. You know,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
are staying there in this situation, you are good. Otherwise, they're going back home to remarry. And I think that's a big problem for us as well, because women is scared. He's gonna go back to Africa and get married again, bring another one here, leaving me with the 6 or 7 children. So you have to deal with them by myself.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a big worry on in
uh,
my community as well.
and so I want to say something about
Yeah.
that for you. In Australia, that is a criminal act. There's actually, we have a criminal act here in Victoria and in Australia, and there's two in your what you just said. Then you mentioned two crimes. One
Okay.
is that bigamy.
Uh-huh.
Bigamy is when you're married than more than one person at the same time in
Yeah.
Australia, and that is a crime. Secondly, if there is any violence, if you're assaulted, that is a crime. Any sexual assault or anything like that, that is a crime. And it
Yeah.
needs to be investigated. The person needs to be taken to court. And I think it's something like between a 5 to 10 year prison sentence. So
Wow.
if we can, absolutely. So if we can get this data and we can actually take some of them through that process so that these guys know, oh my God, I'm not going to get away with this. This is
Yeah.
actually something that I need to stop and change my behavior right now because, I could end up in jail. And I just, people need to know that it's a crime.
And I think you shared a very good information. Even myself, I don't know that it's considered as a crime here. I know it's not allowed, but it's a crime. And then,
Oh,
like,
it's a
if
crime.
anyone can do it without consent, like,
Yeah.
actually a woman can send his husband to jail if they didn't ask for permission, and plus, like, if they do another marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. You need the facts, right?
Yeah.
And you would need to have someone very good to support you. So we need to get some community lawyers around who do some pro bono work, which means, for free. And we need to start taking some of these cases to court. And once you actually do that, there's going to be some people backing off. They're going to be going, oh my God, I better be careful here. So
Yeah.
I think that's part of the empowering of women.
Yeah.
That's very good. I am very happy with this. You have to set an example with a few people to make the other one realize, you know what? It is happening. It is going to happen to me. So I better back off and just try to fix, the marriage that I'm in right now, rather than going back, and getting another woman and just repeating the same situation again. And to be honest, this is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How
I do
many women
agree.
do you actually know that has occurred to?
Yeah.
Do you know any actual women that's occurred to where their
Yes, I
husbands
do.
have gone?
Yes, I do. Yes, I
How
do.
many?
Absolutely.
5, 6? How many women would you
Well,
say?
well, 5 or 6 or 7 women probably they contact me before, and they have the same situation, and they would
Right.
just go with it and just feel like, okay, he's married now, and they just left them with the children to deal with the kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and this is one of the problem that, as I said, that's why they don't want to talk about it, because when they talk, he's going and he's getting married. So I better
Yeah.
just live with
Ah,
whatever's happening rather than him bringing another one here.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
And
right.
that
Well,
is
we
what, like, we
need
need
to know
such
the law.
examples to set.
Yeah. Yeah. And we
Yes,
need some
yes,
legal advice on this as well. So I think there's a couple of people on which I'm thinking I can talk to about this. Maybe we can get someone on the show next week, Sana,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do the legal aspect of that.
Yeah.
So, would you like to show us your book? Because I think you should
yes.
promote the book here. And
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
where can we get it?
Yes. This is my book. I have copies here. If you
Okay.
guys want it, I'll probably send it. But
Yeah.
usually, if you want to get the ebook, it's in Amazon. But if
Yeah.
you better to get the hard copy, because it has a lot of things, the hard copy.
Yeah.
I would love it.
And
I
what
want
this
to
book is all
hard
about.
copy signed.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my pleasure. I'll send you a copy.
Yeah. That will be great, Swa.
Yeah,
And I
thank
want
you.
to know, like, can you just tell us a little bit about, like, this book, what this book is all about?
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
like, the name, I want to say one thing, and that is the name is really good. The Silent Voice of Millions.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. As I said before, when I start thought about the book, I was talking about my own situation, about my own what I was going through. And I had an idea, and I thought, okay, maybe there's a lot of women, because I have a few friends, when before I read the book, so we'll just sit down and we'll just talk, and we'll cry, and that's it. And tomorrow we just go back to do the normal thing, you know. And somebody helped me, which is my coach. His name is SD William. So he gave me the idea of, like, why don't you include other women's stories in your book? And it's okay, that's good. So I start going around and asking women if they I said to them, I'm doing this and I'm writing my own story. Do you want to share your stories? And you cannot believe the amount of women. They were very happy, and some of them for over 20 years they've never spoken about anything, never told one anything, but they trusted me. I was shocked to talk about very, very like very secret and a lot of details in their life. Of course, I include all of those stories in my book, of course, without any names. But from here, I want to say to all of them, thank you very much for trusting me, and thank you very much for sharing your stories. Even if you didn't put your name there, your stories out there, at least you get it out of your chest. These stories are real, these stories are happening. That's why I said it wasn't just my story, it's the story of a lot of other people as well. That's why it's the silent voice of millions.
And that's really great, like, that people trust you and they share their stories. But this also give us an idea that there are not only one woman, there are not only two or three, and that's only hundreds of women. There are thousands who are going through this trauma. And
Absolutely.
that is what people like me, Kim, and even Swad, we are trying to raise awareness that look, your life is really important. We know that it's really a hard job. We know that it's a trauma. You are going through a depression, and that's why we are here to help you. If you want, you can come on board, share your story with us, and we will help you, channelize you where to go, because your life really important and things not remain same. Look at Swad. She is a good example. She take a stance. She stand up. She speak about her experience, and now she is enjoying her life. So she saw the positive side of life as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and we just have to mention something here, that it's not, this is what I always say when I go live and talk about, getting out of a toxic relationship like that. It's not easy. I know, but we don't have to think like it's just easy and I'm just out of it. No, we have to
No.
be prepared mentally that yes,
Yeah.
I am getting out of it. I have to get to the point that when I leave this relationship, I'm not gonna cry. This is what I always say. I am not gonna cry. The only thing, if I cried, I will be cried for those years they wasted, and I did not come out earlier than this. But
Yeah.
I'm crying because I'm leaving this relationship. If you cry because you left the relationship, that's mean you are not 100% up to your game. This is what I always tell women. If you cry after you get your divorce or after you separated or anything like that, if you cry because yes, I left it, why, or you hesitated or something like that, that's mean there is still something there pulling you back. But when you come out of there, you're like, I am not looking back. I'm going forward. Tomorrow is much better. I know it's hard, but I am going through this.
Yeah.
That's what women has to know.
Yeah. That's
Fantastic
really,
advice.
yeah, very, very
Very
good
good advice.
advice, Swat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's like toughing. We need to be tough. We
Yeah.
need to be
Absolutely.
strong, and we need to be
Absolutely.
brave,
Yeah.
because
Yes. You're right.
women are the powers on this planet. We,
Yes.
we don't create wars. We don't create dissension. We bring people together and communicate. So
Yeah.
we need to be a team, and work together
Yeah.
to improve
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. And I think today we talk about hope. And again, it is something, a message from all of us that please don't think negative. If you have an issue, you come forward, you share your stories with us. We are all here to help you and to support you. And with this, I want to wrap up my show, even though, we can talk on this topic for hours, but unfortunately due to time, we have less time. So I just want to conclude that please be positive. And then before I wrap up, Swat, if you want to share any message.
Yes, what I wanna the last thing that I wanna say that to all my beautiful community ladies out there, I know a lot of them are watching right now. I just wanna say thank you so much for the support. Like I've been getting a lot of support from my community when I talk about those things, and we can do this together. We can go through it together. And my only message that I always say every single time, that we are not here to break families. We are not here to destroy families as other people think. But we are here to build the generation for tomorrow. And this generation are our children.
Yeah.
If you are in a toxic relationship, that is not harming only you, that's harming your children as well. Those children, this boy gonna come tomorrow and marry my daughter that I put a lot of effort, to raise her. I don't want
Yeah.
her to go through the thing that I went through. So please try to put that in your mind. You are raising a generation for tomorrow. They will get married, and you want a better life for them and for that person that you want to get married to.
Yeah.
Be positive and be happy and think for tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you,
Awesome.
Swan. Yeah.
Yeah.
You sum up everything for today's show. But Kim, before we wrap up, if you want to say anything.
I just like to, I admire Swad, what she's done and what she's doing, and all the women out there. I'd like to thank you for your support, and the men as well, because there are a lot of good men out there supporting
Yeah.
a lot of good
Absolutely.
women as well.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so we all need to work together as a team and just get rid of this abuse, because it's not necessary, it's not needed, and it's just so destructive to our future. And like what
Yeah.
Swad said, to our children, and that's what we've got to look for, because our children are our future.
Yeah.
So thank you,
Yes.
Sana, and
Yeah. Thanks, Kim.
that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Swat,
Thank
for
you.
your time. And then again, I just want to say in the end, just stay safe and be happy and be positive and try to help each other. And that is what we are trying to do as well. If you need any help, want any support, please do contact us. We are all here to help each other. Till then, keep watching and keep supporting A1 TV. Thank you.